Well, good evening, everyone, and it's finally here. Seems like forever after the last game of last year, but the 2024 edition of the Rejoice Christian Eagles football has arrived. Hello and welcome to the Rejoice Christian Eagles Coaches Show. I'm Bill Bush, joined by my wingman, Mark Kirk, and, of course, head coach of the Rejoice Eagles, Brent Marley. And as always, Todd Whitten back there behind the camera and the controls. We're coming to you live. Schaefer, right up the middle goes Noah, and he busts through and touchdown! Back to pass the scale, looking over to his left. He's got his man there, and it's Tristan Willis, and he may be gone to the races. He makes one man miss. He's down to 5. Touchdown! Rejoice Christian Eagles, as Tristan White did a lot of that on his own, making several men miss. Welcome, everyone, to the Buffalo Wild Wings Rejoice Christian Eagles Coaches Show, coming to you live from Buffalo Wild Wings, located right here at 9263 North Owasso Expressway in Owasso. I'm Bill Bush, joined by my wingman, Mark Kirk, by the offensive coordinator of the Eagles, Casey Willis, and head coach, Brent Marley. All right, guys, 2 down, 1 to go. As the Eagles continue their march towards their chance for a second gold ball in as many years, as they took care of business and took care of Hooker in quarterfinal action a week and a half ago in dominating fashion. I mean, Coach, the team just seems to be hitting on all cylinders right now. We talked about it a couple of weeks ago, that on offense and defense, it just continues to play at a very high level. And really just a great job all the way around. You'd say, well, the offense did great. Yeah, the defense did outstanding too.
Special teams.
Special teams.
Everybody was good.
I mean, and who would have thought that you'd be playing in the semifinals against Hooker, and you've got your 2 and 3s in towards the end of the third quarter. I mean, that you're that much ahead. When preparing for the game, I just can't imagine this being a thought that would have entered your head.
Yeah, you know, I knew we could win the game. Obviously, you always go in thinking you could win.
Sure.
And, you know, but I didn't really expect it to be that much of a gap. When things kind of started going, you know, south for them, it went fast.
It did.
And that's one thing that, you know, we have great coaches. Our coaches are incredible, and we have great players, you know, and players that buy into what we're doing. And, you know, when you can – on all 3 phases of the game, when you can run the ball when you need to run the ball, throw the ball when you need to throw it, and then defensively defend like that, you know, you have an opportunity to do that. But, you know, they had the ball a couple times early that were down there, you know, at the 10-yard line or inside the 10. And I think the whole game would have been totally different if they'd been able to capitalize.
Yeah.
You know, it would have been more of a shootout, you know, but we were able to hold them both those times and then go score quickly.
Yeah.
And it just kind of flipped the game around and the whole momentum right from the start.
Yeah.
So that helped out down the stretch.
Yeah, we'll talk about that here. The Hooker, they received the opening kick, and we'll go through the highlights here, and was able to drive to the Eagles. This is the first one you're talking about. Drove down to the Eagles' 7-yard line, and on 4th and 6 from the Eagles' 7, their quarterback, under heavy pressure, threw into a crowd of people in the end zone, and Holt Wilson picked off the pass, his first of 2 of the night, for a touchback to thwart the drive. And the Eagles marched right down the field on a 13-yard play. I mean, a 13-play, 80-yard drive. We're on 2nd and goal from the 9, behind just really great blocking from Ben Liniger, from Sam Nichols, Aaron Jacobs, Trey Sanchez, and Duncan Andrews. I mean, just every guy, you know, you think, well, just no, it's a couple guys. No, every guy, whether they're pulling or pushing, or made the way for him to go in, and he broke 3 tackles on the way and dragged 3 would-be tacklers into the end zone for the TD. And Casey, I mean, how fun is it? He's already talked about, you know, we had several guys that just, you know, on the offense, but I mean, you've got so many weapons this year. And I know that we talked about earlier, somebody made a comment, this could be the best Eagle team as far as player-wise that we've ever had. And I thought coming out of that, I thought, well, that's a pretty big, bold statement. I mean, you just won the state championship. But
right.
My goodness. I mean, you looking at him and you looking at Noah just and his you see, he's so hard to stop when he gets his wheels rolling.
Oh, same thing as last year. I told the boys last year, this year, if we could just get him second level, then I'm pretty sure we're going to score. Yeah, we got a lot of guys that we feel really confident of putting in any situation, and they're going to be ready, and they can make a play. And I know I've been on the other side of that, and that is difficult for a defense. And all our guys, unselfish, they buy in, and they never know. I told them, going in a football game, you look back at games you played, you never know when that one play was going to happen. And so every play, just be ready for it, and some of them happen and big plays, and then sometimes they come real fast.
Yeah, absolutely. And like I say, the defense did what they were supposed to do. We got the INT, turned it into 7 points, and that was all the scoring in the first quarter. And then in the second quarter, after forcing a punt, the Eagles had the ball. We had it at our own 21-yard line, but we weren't able to move the ball. Matter of fact, we moved it, but the wrong way. We went backwards, just several blown assignments. And on 4th and 9 from the 12, Hooker recovered a bobbled snap that fell on the ground, and they were able to get on top of it. Actually, I guess we got on top of it, but it gave them the ball because it was at the 13-yard line. And so it was probably I think this play right here, or this series, was probably the biggest momentum shift, because they had it first down again, like I say, at the 13-yard line, and then they got it where it was 4th and 1 at the Eagles' 4. And Cade Schaefer read that play perfectly and was able to shoot through the gap and tackle the running back for no gain right at the line of scrimmage to stop the drive. So now, like you said, you've got 2 drives back-to-back inside the 10-yard line, and they haven't put any points on the board yet. And so, I mean, we've got it inside the 10, no points on the board.
Yeah, the defense really stepped up, and that's what you want to see is when they're under pressure. That first one, when they had it down at the 7, when they threw the interception that Holt Wilson picked off, Tristan White had on their sideline, was getting pressure on number 6, their quarterback, all up in his face, and made him throw that errant ball. As a matter of fact, I think Holt's second pick, Tristan White's in the quarterback's face. I know we'll talk about this, but Neil Lieber had 2 picks, and then we had someone else had 1.
Alex Jorman.
Alex Jorman had 1. And so, but most of those interceptions, you go back and look, it's not always because of just bad decisions. He's under duress.
Yeah, and he was all night.
Hurried decisions. That's exactly what I was going to say. I mean, he threw the interceptions, but he was not comfortable under those throws.
Right.
He was running for his life in every one of them, trying to get the ball out of his hands. And it's exactly right. I mean, that's one of those that pass rush really certainly made a big difference in that game.
Well, and if that didn't make them a little discouraged at that time, it was on first down we handed up, and Mark and I were talking, let's just get it out of the shadow of our goalpost and kind of, if nothing else, get it out so you can punt it away.
Flip the ends of the field, exactly.
Yeah, so, we handed off to Noah, and he bangs in the course of the middle. And no sooner, if you go back and watch the replay, no sooner had Mark said, well, boy, this would be a great time. They're expecting Noah to get it right, but this would be a great time to bounce one to the outside. And Camion Compton-Nero says, I got you, as he had the big player of the game when he popped one to the outside and raced 94 yards for the touchdown with the point after being good by Andrus. That just had to be absolutely deflating for Hooker to twice be inside the 10 and not score. And then we scored on one of those, but all of a sudden you're going 94 yards the other way. Not only is it just so deflating for them, but just has to get your team just really sky high.
Oh, momentum's a real thing, and it swings sometimes very quickly. And, when the defense got that stop, we were fully ready just to start marching again. But offensive line did a great job. I had watched film earlier in the week, and I saw success that some teams had on a quarterback counter against them, and I thought this would be a great time to do it. And just like that, and you get it in good players' hands, and they do great things with it.
Yeah, you get it in somebody's hands like Camion with that speed. All he's got to do is just beat that outside end, and if the other guy's not covering over on that side, or getting the speed to get over, he's gone, and he was. And so that made the score 14-0 in the second quarter. And then after that TD, Hooker had it 3rd and 6 from their own 24-yard line when Hope Wilson got his second pick of the night, and the Eagles were back in business again at the Bulldog 33-yard line. And we drove down to the Bulldog 7, where on second and goal, that offensive line again of Liniger, Jacobs, Nichols, and Sanchez and Andrus opens up just a gaping hole for Goodwin, and he takes it out from 7 yards and for his second TD of the night. And, I mean, on the next possession, the Bulldogs went for it on 4th and 9 on their own 41, and under heavy pressure from the D, the Eagles took over on 41 after the pass fell incomplete. So at this point, your defense, Coach Marley, is just, I mean, they're just turning the game around. Anytime you can give your offense, the ball on their side of the field, usually good things are going to happen.
Yeah, they've proved it time and time again all year. And what the defense has done a really good job of. Our defensive staff a few times this year has made great adjustments on what teams have had success on early in the game, and but anyway, yeah, it's a group effort. It was from just the guys up front in the box. I think we've got a great group up front. They're fast, they're tenacious, and they're a linebacking play. I mean, that's been tremendous. And on the back end, the secondary. It's hard to out-athlete some of those kids and get behind them or find something on them. And so, anyway, usually you've got kinks. Like, well, we're a good run-stopping team, but we're not very good versus the pass. Or we're a good secondary, but, man, we just don't stop the run very good. And so this year it's been nice to be very balanced on that side.
Well, and to be able to play man up. I mean, not have to play zone, but know that you've got the athletes, as we'll see here in a second. But to know you've got those athletes, the Hope Wilsons and the Camions back there, and the Z, and Neil Lieber. I mean, you got these guys that have got speed, but they've also got a nose for the ball. I mean, they do such a good job of floating, to their position, being able to pick stuff off. And so the Eagles, like I say, they've got the ball now at the 41-yard line, and just pouring it on because on first down, Camion found Hope Wilson down the middle behind the secondary for the 41-yard pitch and catch, and the PAT was good. And like I said, I really think with the D inside, they got to be shell-shocked. And then you draw up a play to where you're hitting a guy down the middle just running free 41 yards.
It wasn't really drawn up to hit home, but the guy on the play side was also open.
Oh, yeah.
But
he could have had his choice.
There was multiple.
But we always tell those guys on those backside routes, it's like if you don't run hard, then we'll never know if you're open, so you better do it. And Camion saw him out of the corner of his eye, and he put a ball right on his shoulder. And, I mean,
in stride.
And, I always think going into games, if we can get up 2 scores, we put a little pressure on, and teams start doing things maybe they're not used to doing or want to do. And I think that's why they went for it on that 4th down, because they kind of saw where they were at that point. And then, our guys, once they start rolling, everybody's getting into it. And, like I said, that momentum just keeps helping, and everybody, at that point is playing hard.
And our confidence just keeps rising.
Sure.
Their confidence, their doubt starts sinking in.
Yeah.
And they're thinking, oh, my gosh, we're in the second quarter and we're down 28-0.
Yeah.
And it's in the second quarter.
Yeah.
This is Hooker, folks. This is a team we played for the championship last year, and they were ranked, I think, as high as 5th or 6th coming into the game.
They're a good football team, yeah.
Great football team.
I think they certainly were down, and everything was certainly working against them, but I think they're a well-coached team as well.
They are.
And they kept their heads up. They kept on playing. They certainly did not lay down. They were still playing hard. It's just Joyce was just overwhelming.
They're
right?
tough
just
kids
some things are
there.
going on.
I mean, they've had so much success there that they don't know how to die. I mean, it's one of those things. I mean, they've played for state championship 2 years in a row. They've been in a state championship game. So, and that beyond that, I mean, Coach Wilson, I know from, we went that 2A stint for a while, but when we were A for our first 7 or 8 years at Rejoice, they were always in the mix when you're looking at postseason and the bracket, and you always, Hooker was always one of those teams that was up there.
Yeah, yeah. It wasn't unusual to see them somewhere in the playoff bracket.
Right.
Well, the Eagles again this time forced a 3 and out after Hooker had the ball, and the offense took over at the Hooker 44-yard line after a punt with 1:10 left in the first half, and the Eagles were able to score on 4 plays where on 2nd and 12, Camion found Holt Wilson out in the left flat, and Holt took it in for the TD for the 12-yard touchdown. And now you got 16 seconds remaining in the first half. The PAT is good, but before he got down to that 12-yard toss, Holt had a really nice one-handed catch. That, because I thought, okay, that's incomplete. And Mark's going, did he grab that one-handed?
Yeah.
And just you go back and look at it. You can watch it several times because that was a big play in that drive. And now, so going into halftime, the Eagles are up 35-0. I mean, obviously, Coach Willis, you don't have to make a whole lot of adjustments because, I mean, you're up 35-0. What are you telling your offense to do better?
Well, no, I told them that we'd played really well, but you kind of have to take a mentality after halftime of it's 0-0 because as well as you play in the first half, I've seen it in the second half where you play equally opposite, and that's not what we want, and those kids don't either, and so we have to come out like it's the first drive of the game and it's 0-0, and that's just how you have to play all the time if you want to get to the ultimate goal. And they stay locked in, and they were pumped coming out, but yeah, we didn't make a lot of adjustments. A couple things that were working well for us we're going to stay with, but yeah, we were pleased at halftime. That was a good halftime.
Yeah, and what about the defense, Coach? I mean, what's Coach Eckel telling his defensive guys?
Keep doing what you're doing.
Yeah.
I mean, every time you go in at halftime and there's nothing on the scoreboard for your opponent, that's a great feeling.
Doing something well. And it's also, there's not really any adjustments that need to be made because it's working. And now it's just it's more about finish and fight. And they're not done. They're not going to lay down. And if you can get them amped up to go out there and just kind of step on the throat, so to speak, and finish it off and have that mentality, that maybe is contrary to what some people think that a Christian school shouldn't have that mentality. But we try to teach them that, and they did. And they went out there and unfortunately we gave the one late one, which I'm sure you'll talk about. But anyway, sometimes that happens too because you want to let kids play.
Sure, 100%. Well, and you talk about, you never know what the second half's going to look like and what the other team's going to do. I witnessed that this last Friday when I went down to my alma mater, Sand Springs, when I went down to watch them play Putman City. They were down 27-7 in the first half. First half of ball game, came all the way back and won at 28-27. Sure. So things can turn around, and you can't ever take anything for granted. So the Eagles come out the second half with the first half with a 35-0 lead, and receive the second half kickoff. And I've never seen this before, when an attempted onside kick was mishit and bounced backwards for a -1. Things are going bad. When you're attempting an onside kick and it goes ahead.
It wasn't as bad as the New York Giants kicker though last night.
That kicked the ground.
Yeah, I don't know if you saw that.
No, it must have been really bad because, like I say, going a yard negative on an onside kick.
One guy's not getting paid and one guy's making no telling how much.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's true.
So
yeah, and again, one of those one-play drives which we saw a lot, coming into the playoffs, but we were playing teams that we knew that we were far superior. But again, only one play as Camion found Tristan Willis streaking down the outside, and he drops a dime against the wind. That's the other thing that was impressive for a 39-yard touchdown. And now the Eagles leading 42-0 after the extra point. 7 seconds off to put 6 more points on the board. Now you're up 42-0. At that point, you pretty much know they've got the hammer. We've got the hammer out, and somebody's looking for the nails because we're getting ready to nail the coffin shut.
Oh, well.
And it was just a beautiful pass.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
And going into the game, offensively, we had kind of gone over several different game plans because they had shown several different defenses in different games. So we weren't totally sure what they were going to come out with. And then in the first half, we got that locked in. And then at halftime, I figured they were going to make some adjustments. But they were still in man-to-man.
They really didn't. Yeah, I was surprised.
Which just shocks me that anybody would play us man-to-man with our receivers and height.
Sometimes you have to try. And I already had the play dialed up in my head if it was on the right hash. But he threw an excellent pass. I mean, we've ran that play many times and, not completed it. But great route, great protection, didn't get touched. At that point, and it always helps when you got a 0 on the other side of the scoreboard.
Make some try some things.
I always tell the defense, if those guys don't score, we won't lose.
That's right. That's right. Well, and then yet after another, and I was going to ask you what he's up to now because I know he really wants to get to 65. I think he's up to 58 or whatever.
On
another
touchback.
Yeah, on Duncan Andrews. That also helps the defense by forcing them to start at the 20. I know you want to, on kickoffs don't necessarily want to, but anyway, touchback again by Andrus, and the Bulldogs had it at their own 20-yard line where on first down, Neil Lieber made a great play and picked off the Bulldog pass at the 28-yard line. And we couldn't tell who it was going to – because he throws that thing up, but he picks it up at the 20. And we were back in business again right at the 20-yard line.
Yeah.
And so, again, with outstanding blocking from the Eagles, Noah busts over on the right side and took it to the house for his third touchdown of the night. And he's our offensive player of the game. The PAT was good. 25 seconds has run off the second half clock.
It was almost unbelievable.
And we've put 14 more points on the board.
Yeah.
It's one of those games, unfortunately, when you're on the other side for Hooker, that when it rains, it pours, and it just nothing was going right for Hooker at that time.
Right.
And at that time, you're thinking, okay, we're up 49-0. You realize that this one's in the bag. We're going to be able to get some extra players in. And you're 25 seconds into the second half.
I think that onside kick to start off second half was representative of the whole night for Hooker.
Indicative of how everything was going.
Yeah, I think they're a better team than, the score represented. We talked about that in the office. It just and we've said this 100 times on this show, it's a blessing for us to play at home.
Yeah, I was going to say that.
Coming into Rejoice, if you've not been there, and it's because of our fan base and our people and the environment, and it's just been a blessing because there's not been a whole lot of people come out of there in the last I don't know how many years without, if they have won, it's been a dogfight.
Yeah.
There's not been a whole lot of wins on the other side, but the fans get so into the game, the atmosphere, they're on top of you, the way the stadium's situated, and Hooker just didn't have a night. They didn't have one of their nights, and so.
Well, it was definitely a shock and awe type of night, and I think you're right. I think if you go to some of these other A schools, they've not experienced that type of atmosphere. Is big time high school football atmosphere. It's not your typical Class A type atmosphere. It's something that you would hear noise-wise. It's something you would hear in any 4A or 5A or even some 6A. I've seen some 6A games to where they don't have the crowds like we do.
Yeah.
And so I think for a Class A school to be able to, but we're gonna see that this weekend because Pawhuska is one of those schools
They'll
that
travel.
they also
Yeah.
and they also support their team like that. We'll talk about them in a second. So the Eagles they traded turnovers on downs and the. A couple of times, and the Bulldogs drove to the Eagle 12 and were stopped once again by the D, and both teams, again, trading punts. Hooker had the ball on a 3rd and 9 from their own 31, and the rise above player of the game on defense, Neil Lieber, went up in a crowd, and that's the one to where thought, all right, who's got the ball? Because, there could have – when he went and grabbed it, I think it may have been – I'm trying to remember who was over there covering with him.
Holt was over there in the back.
Neil kind of went
Neil.
inverted too. He went backwards and upside down.
It's either Luke
And
or
grabs it,
CC.
pulls down, and Marvis, and he's going, he intercepted that.
It's a
I'm
great
going,
pick.
Who?
It was a great pick. I thought it was the best game Nils played defensively.
Yeah,
it was a
two
great game.
interceptions. He made 10 or 11 tackles. I mean, he had a really good game.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, he had 9 tackles, 8 of them were solo. We'll talk about that here in a minute as Mark goes over those stats. So now, again, stop that drive on that second interception. The Bulldogs forced a turnover on downs. We're going into the fourth quarter now. So the third quarter ended with a 49-0 lead for the Eagles. And on 4th and 8, Alex Yorman had the 5th interception for the Eagles of the night at the Eagle 41-yard line and returned it 20 yards to the Bulldog 39. And what looked like a great TD run by Riker Golightly was called back.
Great run.
That was the only thing that would have stopped it because, he made a great run, great moves to get out in the open, broke some tackles, and we ended up turning the ball over and downs. And a couple of changes of possession after that, the Bulldogs, they were able to avert the shutout and score with 23 ticks left in the game, and the 2-point conversion was good for a final score of 49-8. But, again, you go back and look at it, there was just not a whole lot that went wrong in that ball game on the offensive side.
No, second round of the playoffs, and you can win like that. You're pretty pleased. We had a game plan, watched a ton of film, had a good week of practice, and the boys came out and executed. And it's it's kind of football season's a long season, especially the longer you play, obviously. And I've coached teams where we've peaked probably week 3 or 4 and playing amazing football, and then by the time you get to the playoffs, maybe you're not playing as well as you were earlier. And I think this group last year and this year has done a really good job of just continually just getting a little better each week, And I still don't think we've played our best. That was close.
Yeah,
but
that was really close.
We have a kid named ZZ, and he didn't score a touchdown in the game. We scored half 100. So
you have an OU commit,
Yeah.
3-star commit that didn't even
Right.
score a touchdown.
And he was happy as all could get out
Sure.
for winning a football game. And
Which, by the way, let me set the record straight. He's been at Rejoice since 3rd grade.
Yeah. Oh, I know. I had a conversation.
Camion Compton Nero's been there since 6th grade.
Yeah.
Tried to be since 4th grade.
Yeah.
And got him in 6th grade. So
Yeah. Oh, I had that conversation with one of my buddies over the weekend, and told him, I said, we always get accused of recruiting. I said, I don't think people realize you have to pay to go to Rejoice. And if a player can get some type of scholarship money, it's not because he's an athlete. It's because financially they were able to qualify for some financial aid. No different than my grandkids that go to Rejoice.
And you have to live in our district.
And you have
which
to.
is not Owasso.
Right.
Not the city of Owasso. It's a small box inside of the city of Owasso.
Right.
And you have to sit out a year unless you get the one-year transfer that every school has.
Yeah.
So anyway,
Yeah,
No,
so
I better
don't get him
stop.
started.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
anyway.
Bill and I had a really interesting conversation about that in the stands with somebody a
I
couple
think it
years
was over
ago.
at Jay, Oklahoma. That was,
So, yeah,
One more
somebody-
thing too.
What?
We're playing in our ADM. That's our average daily membership. That's our enrollment.
Yeah.
We're not playing. The facilities do not determine your enrollment or your class.
Right.
Nothing determines your class besides your enrollment.
Right.
Or if we get penalized because we're a private school.
Right.
If you have success.
Sure.
So
then
yeah.
they make you move
Make
up,
you move
which
up.
we'll be doing that next year. We can talk about that at the end of the year. Looking over some of the stats, passing, Camion was 12 of 18 for 179 yards and 3 touchdowns. Before going that, the 5 interceptions, a lot of times that's a whole year's worth of interceptions for teams, and we did it in one night.
Well, I was going to say for that game, Hooker, everything was going against Hooker. But if you have 5 turnovers, and it didn't really make a difference how well you're playing on the other side.
Yeah.
That's hard to overcome for anybody.
Right. Yeah, and it was. And again, no interceptions for Camion. Receiving, you had Holt Wilson 3 catches for 61 yards and 2 touchdowns. ZZ had 3 catches for 46 yards, and I've got him down as a TD, but he didn't even score a touchdown.
It's just a holdover from all the other weeks.
I guess so, yeah. He saved one and used it for this game. Tristan, 1 catch for a 39-yard touchdown catch, and Neil Lieber, 2 catches for 28 yards. On the rushing side of things, you had Camion with 7 rushes for 112 yards and a touchdown, that 94-yarder. And then Noah, like I mentioned, our offensive player of the game, had 10 rushes for 92 yards and 3 touchdowns. So really spread it around. And that's just your leaders. That's not everybody else that touched the ball or handled the ball or caught the ball. That's just the offensive leaders. And Mark,
it's kind of the same thing on the defensive side. Everybody got involved, and everybody had a really great game. You know, we've got our leaders here. Obviously, we do every week, but it's just amazing that everybody that's on the field is involved.
Right.
And they're making plays. They're making tackles. So for last week, Neil Lieber, defensive player of the game, 9 tackles, 8 solo, a pass breakup, and 2 big interceptions. Cade Schaefer, he's there all the time, 15 tackles, 10 solo. Holt Wilson, 4 tackles, 3 solo, and 2 interceptions. 2 guys with 2 interceptions. Anyway, Camion had 8 tackles and 7 solo. That's go along with everything else he's doing on the offensive side of the ball. Max Eichmann, 4 tackles, 2 solo, and 1 pass breakup. Alex Shorman had an interception. Cannon Carpenter, 5 tackles, 2 solo, and one tackle for loss. Tanner Piazza, he's out there too, 4 tackles, 3 solo. Tanner's, not one of the biggest guys on the team, right? He's out there making solo tackles. And like I said, a whole bunch of other guys were in there 2, 3, 4 tackles apiece. 21 players made tackles in that game.
Yeah. That's a ton of guys making plays.
How many guys are even on the field?
Yeah,
yeah, exactly. You know, I mean, and obviously that lets you know that we had a lot of 2s and 3s, and again, even they made it difficult for Hooker to go down and score because Hooker still. I don't think they had their starting quarterback in, but they
moved some of their guys in there towards the end. But they still had a lot of their big linemen were out there for sure.
Well, Coach, obviously the coaching staff did just an incredible job of preparing and having a game plan, and the players executed. You have to have the game plan, but you got to have the players execute it, and they did flawlessly.
Yeah.
But in your wildest imagination, did you ever believe that you're going to come away with a team like Hooker with a 49-8 victory to take you into the semifinals?
No, I mean, I believe we could win the game, and we always believe. That's one of our words we use all the time. But no, I mean, not like in that fashion. But anyway, just like I said earlier, though, we have really good coaches. I mean, great coaches, and they're intentional, and they watch a lot of film, like Coach Willis said, and they take their sides of the ball seriously. I know he does with offense, and Coach Eckel with defense, and Coach Jay does with special teams, and all of our assistant
your line coaches. I mean,
they work so hard. Yeah, Coach Riley and Coach McGee work so well together. It's been awesome adding Coach McGee with Coach Riley, and
Blizz coming back over.
Blizz with the tight ends and the outside backers, and it's 2 years in a row that we've just seen our O-line progress. And you got to have chicken sometimes to make chicken salad, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we don't always have the Aaron Jacobs of the world up front,
right?
But they've made guys better and better. And I'd look at Trey Sanchez and Duncan Andrews. Those are the two. I look at them as our anchors up front that were there part of that last year, and they know the expectation, and they've been able to help bring those guys along too. And I think it's a very cohesive, gelled unit right now.
It is. I love seeing, just like we were talking about a minute, every week we see these incremental advancement. These guys are getting better every week, offense and defense, and it's you're seeing the result of it and what's going on. The way that we're able to move the ball and the way we're able to stop everybody.
And you can tell they're getting it done in the weight room too, because our guys normally aren't as big as the guys that are across the line from them, but yet they're either holding their blocks or they're shucking guys off and able to go in and make a play. That's because they're strong. I mean, these guys are doing what it takes to in the weight room to get stronger and be able to whip.
Look at Ben Lineker as a guy that's been kind of in and out his senior year, and then he's just stayed the course. He's tried to lead, all year long, and we've talked about that. And now it's starting to kind of pay off for him, and he's playing well. Aaron Jacobs was a huge,
add-on. You say add-on. We got the Jacobs brothers transferred in from NOAA, the Homeschool Association, back in May, and so that was our recruiting, our big recruiting. And so, but Aaron's
it did give you size on the line.
Aaron's done a tremendous job at center, and he's such a good young man, and he brings life to the O-line, and so he was a great get. And Sam Nichols is, he's been incredible. His older brother Ben played for us last year in the state championship team, and Sam has came so far from the beginning of the year till now. And anyway, I'm just super proud of those guys.
Sure, absolutely. Well, we're going up against someone this week that we're somewhat familiar with number 3 Pawhuska Huskies, who some say was able to upset a previously undefeated and highly ranked Wynnewood team, 28-26. They probably don't look at it as an upset. Because they're a good ball club, and it was pretty much even up. If you watch these two teams on film, Wynnewood was not. You wouldn't say, well, the better team lost, because that didn't happen. Pawhuska was able to go in and do what they needed to do, and Wynnewood was ranked number 3 last week going into that game. So it looks like Pawhuska is for real, and are playing some really good ball right now. And just like Barry Lewis of the Tulsa World said, they're in the same position that we were. I thought this was an interesting comment. They're in the same position we were last year, looking to win their first state title.
Yeah.
And so they're and they've made it to the semis, but they've always been beat out in the semis. But they're going to be hungry, and we've got some history with Pawhuska. We go up there and play in the Pioneer Woman Classic, but most of our history with them is scrimmages. We'll play them a half of a game, or whatever at the scrimmage up there. But this is going to be quite a bit different. This game has a little more on the line than just beating each other in a scrimmage, where you're testing things out. And they're 0-5 in semifinals, and they lost in the semifinals twice to Cashin, 20 and 21. But they're going to be as hungry this year as what we were last year, to try to make a point and try to say, all right, guys, this is the year. This is the year we get over the hump. What are you telling your guys this week? First, go with you on offense. You've seen them on D. What's it look like on as far as what you might be able to do on defense? On the offense to their D. Yep. Anything different than what you've really done up to this point?
There's a few things.
Without saying too much, you don't want to
get my play script out. Yeah. No, I did tell them they're probably going to be the best coached team that they've seen so far. We do know those. They've been in our district actually twice before, so we have played them quite a bit. You got to throw the records out. Everybody's a semifinal team right now,
right?
And everyone wants to make it to that state championship, and it only takes one game. And I always feel like we can beat anyone, but I also tell the guys, if you go out there and stink it up and you don't execute and you turn the ball over, you will be beat by anyone.
Right.
And so you have to, like we said, it's every week needs to be the same. You got to take the same approach. You got to have a good week of practice. You got to have a good Monday, a Tuesday. You got to all those things. And then most people look at the game and see if you played well or not, and that's part of it. But really, it's all the preparation before, because there's so many hours that go into it. Even you talk about the spring and the summer that go into that, and that is when you win the games. And so, when we had good practice today, we're gonna, hopefully have another good one tomorrow, and then by Friday, you feel good about it. But there are some things that we've seen, and I'm sure they got some adjustments. And honestly, I've gone in with game plans of exactly what the other team was going to do defensively, and they line up the first time, and it is nothing.
What is this?
Nothing they've ever shown, and I just throw my play script away, and I'm like, all right. And you have to be ready for that, because obviously they're going to be game planning towards us and what we do.
Well, and just like Mark said, you got to take care of the ball.
Oh,
just like
game.
Hooker,
Yep.
They did not take care of the ball.
Yep.
That's to our advantage. It gives you an extra offensive series. And if you're not taking care of the ball and turning it over, so that's the one. That's going to be, I think, a big key in this game. Is we've got to win the turnover battle and not either put the ball on the ground or not
always
or not let them go the other way to an interception
and avoid those critical penalties too. I mean, getting penalties, especially pre-snap penalties, would just kill your
which
offensive
we did
momentum.
a really good
we did
job.
A really good
last
job
week.
last week.
That was one of the better games we've had of not having a bunch of shoot yourself in the foot penalties.
I tell our guys I'm okay with aggressive penalties, meaning you're blocking and you maybe get a holding penalty. It happens. I don't like lazy penalties, meaning you grab somebody because you didn't move your feet.
Yeah.
But the procedure penalties, that is all on us if that happens. Yep. And we just have to eliminate all those things.
And so, Coach Marley, on the quarterback matchup, Paul Huska's, their quarterback, Kane Foreman, I mean, he's a big boy, 6'3", 215 pounds. He's 154 of 227 for 2,257 yards and 30 touchdowns.
Wow.
And he's also rushed for 7 TDs. You compare that to Camion, he's passed for 1,824 yards and 27 TDs. And rushed for 469 yards and 6 TDs. So really both quarterbacks are really good quarterbacks and has scored 4 touchdowns on defense, has Camion. They've got their tailback, Snodgrass, who's one of the guys we're going to have to look at, number 1. And he takes a lot of wildcat snaps. I was watching film on him. They've also got a number 5 tailback. They've got who's 6'3", 190. And then their tailback, number 2, Cass. I mean, so they've got a lot of playmakers in the backfield. It's just not 1 or 2 guys that are going to hurt you. The defense is going to have to be able to take care of whatever it's going to take to watch 4 or 5 guys and some receivers. I mean, they look like they're about 50-50.
Yeah.
They'll throw it just as much as they'll run it.
They're very balanced. Coach Hennessy and I've friends and known each other for a long time. Back when he was at Locust Grove and we were at Victory Christian, and he had Mason Fine and we had Keats Calhoun, and we never played in a game, but we had some knockdown and drag out scrimmages a couple times, and he does a tremendous job. His whole staff does. His kids play hard for him, and they love him, and you can see that, and so you don't always get that. You sometimes can kind of tell with cultures that you think you might have the upper hand, but this is a game where I believe we have a good healthy culture, and we're playing another good healthy culture, and with good coaching on that side, and so it's going to be a challenge. And offensive, like you said, it's not just this number and that number. We got to stop those 2 guys.
And I can tell you, I mean, having been, I got a lot of contacts at Huska, and I can tell you from day 1 of the season, they have fully expected to be where they are right now. Playing in this game.
This is not an accident. They're 11-1.
Yeah.
You do not become 11-1
and beat an undefeated team in the quarters.
Right, at their place, having to go to Wynnewood.
Yeah, at Wynnewood.
I mean, that is, and I heard, I mean, the environment there is like crazy too. And so, no, this is, for us, and like it's 1-0 every week. But like we told the boys last year, it's the same thing. This is the state championship.
Yeah, every week's the state championship.
Because there is no state championship if you don't win this game.
Right.
Like this is it. Like, but also just enjoy it, soak it up, play, have fun, and that's what we hope to do.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, folks, I shouldn't even have to encourage you to make the short drive up to Oologah Friday night. I mean, you need to get there early. We're designated as a visiting team at Mustang Stadium up at Oologah High School. And Martin can attest, the Pawhuska people love their Husky football team, and they will follow them, and they will show up Friday night. They're going to have a huge crowd there. It'll be packed. The homes, I mean, they'll fill up. They'll almost fill up that home side of that stadium, and they're they like nothing more than to end our season. And we need to do the same thing. We need to pack the visitors' side, and we need to show them what a difference you, the 12th man, make, just like you have all year long. I mean, these young men, these coaches, they've earned your support. I mean, and that's how you can show it as far as how much you support them. and it's almost like a home game. I mean,
it's pretty close.
Some people, it may be closer to home than it is, to Ulaga than it is to, come and play in a home game. And so we need to treat it like a home game. It's only a 10-minute drive up 169. And what a great opportunity for you to get out and you need to get out, show up, and show out. Bring your bells, bring your horns, your enthusiasm, and cheer the Eagles on for their quest at a shot at another gold ball. But like Coach Marley said, it doesn't happen until you win this game. Then you can fully concentrate and talk about the championship. Right now, we're only talking about the semifinals because that's where we're at, and that's where the next game is to give us a chance to do it for twice in a row. So I really hope you come out and show up out there at the game. But, if you can't, Mark and I, we're going to bring you all the semifinal action right here on this HuddleTV.com station or the Rejoice Athletics TV YouTube live stream. You can get it on either spot, so, whichever one you want to do. Coach Willis, any final thoughts on going in this Friday night?
No. It's just a blessing, and, we're excited to be one of the Final Four. Most people at this time of year are at home or in basketball already, and we're just blessed to still be playing. So, like you said, I hope everybody comes out and shows up, and, we have another exciting Friday night.
Yeah. Coach Marley?
I think he said it very well. And, just thankful and blessed to be with our guys and our coaches and just want to keep it going.
Mark?
Absolutely, same thing. Just keep on rolling. We've been just building every week. Just keep on building. Everybody shows up, good things are going to happen.
So grab your coats, grab your thermos bottles. Supposed to be, I think, in the 40s.
Yep.
Some of the,
football weather.
Football weather up. That's what you're supposed to do. Get a blanket, put it on. You can be ready to play or to cheer on these guys Friday night. We really hope that we have just a standing room only crowd on that visitor side. Fill it up and cheer these guys on. But until then, until Friday night, from a wingman, Mark Kirk, coaches Casey Willis and Brent Marley, and, of course, our engineer making this all happen, Todd Witten, I'm Bill Bush. And so good night, God bless, and go Eagles.